Thank you very much for joining us for another weekly recap. I am Philip Stuckey with the Daily Caller News Foundation.
And I am Henry Rogers with the Daily Caller News Foundation.
Well, we have a very full show this week. As you know, the topic kind of the week is actually Trump's response to DACA. He actually worked with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, of course, and he started a tweet storm, started the conversation with a tweet storm announcing the results of a dinner that he had with Democrats on Wednesday evening. So, Henry, how did he start?
Well, in Trump's first tweet, he mentions the wall. And he says, quote, "The wall, which is already under construction in the form of new renovation of old and existing fences and walls, will continue to be built."
And he moves on to say in the next tweet, basically asking a question, does anybody really want to throw out good, educated, and accomplished young people who have jobs, some serving in the military? Really?
And then from there, in a normal Trump rant, he goes, ... "They have been in our country for many years, through no fault of their own, brought in by parents at young age, plus big border security."
And of course, finishing up by saying that no deal was made last night on DACA. So, quote, "No deal was made last night on DACA. Massive border security would have to be agreed to in exchange for consent, would be subject to a vote." And I think that's really interesting because Trump campaigned very heavily on a strong stance against illegal immigration of all kinds. One of Trump's biggest campaign promises was, in fact, to build something that he doesn't have any really funding on, and he expects to actually create a bill and make Democrats happy.
Yeah, it's very interesting, Philip. Here we are, and Trump supporters are getting very angry about it. They are getting very angry about the fact that that Trump was at a dinner with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi working on stuff to get deals done, but that he could not work out any funding for the wall.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer both actually come out now since then saying that they believe that there was that they've actually were kind of trying to push Trump towards amnesty. But according to President Donald Trump, on his way to Florida yesterday, spoke with the press on his way out to Marine One in front of the White House, and he basically just essentially said that we're working on a deal, but it actually emphasized that he was trying to push for border wall funding. And of course, we have a clip of that that we'll bring to you now.
Well, we're working on a plan subject to getting massive border control. We're working on a plan for DACA. People want to see that happen. You have 800,000 young people brought here, no fault of their own. So we're working on a plan. We'll see how it works out. But we're going to get massive border security as part of that. And I think something can happen. We'll see what happens, but something will happen. The wall will come later. We're right now renovating large sections of wall, massive sections, making it brand new. We're doing a lot of renovation. We're building 4 different samples of the wall to see which one we're going to choose, and the wall is going to be built. It'll be funded a little bit later. Well, we want to get massive border security, and I think that both Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, I think they agree with it. But so we met last night with, as you know, Schumer, Pelosi, and a whole group, and I think we're fairly close, but we have to get massive border security. Oh, I think he's on board. Yeah, Mitch is on board. Paul Ryan's on board. We all feel, look, 92% of the people agree on DACA. But what we want is we want very, very powerful border security, okay? We're going down to Florida. We'll see you in Florida.
So that's what Trump had to say. And Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer seem to agree.
Yeah, definitely. And we have a clip of that now.
Now, Mr. President, last night, Leader Pelosi and I had a constructive meeting with President Trump and several members of his cabinet. One of our most productive discussions was about the DACA program, in which we all agreed on a framework to pass DACA protections and additional border security measures excluding the wall. We agreed that the President would support enshrining the DACA protections into law. In fact, something he stated for a while needed to be done. And the President would also encourage the House and Senate to act. What remains to be negotiated are the details of border security, with a mutual goal of finalizing all the details as soon as possible. While both sides agreed that the wall would not be any part of this agreement, the president made clear he intends to pursue it at a later time, and we made clear that we would continue to oppose it. The president, and if you listen to the president's comments this morning, Director Mulvaney's comments this morning, it is clear that what Leader Pelosi and I put out last night was exactly accurate, confirmed again this morning by our statement, by the president's statement before he got on the helicopter to go to Florida, and Director Mulvaney's comments. We have reached an understanding on this issue. We have to work out details. And we can work together on a border security package with the White House and get DACA on the floor quickly.
So, Henry, it looks like Schumer and Trump were on the same page, at least as of yesterday. But essentially, basically, Democrats think that they're able to work with Donald Trump on issues like amnesty and kind of push the issue. And, at least according to Chuck Schumer's statements on a hot mic caught on C-SPAN on the Senate floor yesterday.
He likes us. He likes me anyway. Look, what we said was exactly accurate. Here's what I told him. I said, Mr. President, you're much better off if you can sometimes step right and sometimes step left. If you have to step just in one direction, you're boxed. He gets that.
So in case you couldn't hear that, basically he was saying he likes us. I think he likes us. And kind of a little bit more intelligible towards the end was, I told the president, this is Chuck Schumer saying this, if you step to the right or step to the left, you're good. But if you only step in one way, then you're boxed. And I think that's interesting because Chuck Schumer apparently believes that Donald Trump is willing to work towards the left and is willing to continue to work towards the left on other options moving forward on things like tax reform, the farm bill, things like this. And I think that's really kind of interesting because, okay, so if Donald Trump, who is supposedly this kind of DC insider basher or, anti-swamp material, where does that leave the conservatives and the people that voted for him? Ann Coulter literally wrote the book on loving Trump. And she thinks that Trump turned his back on every single one of the nearly 46 million people who voted him into office.
Right, Philip. And as I've said, I think that this move could possibly cost Trump a lot of his base. People elected President Trump for reasons, as you know, one of the main reasons was to build the wall. Yet we have no funding on this wall, not a little bit of funding. And if he's going to continue to go to backdoor little meetings with Pelosi and Schumer, his base is just not going to be happy with that.
That's true. And despite the fact that there is no funding, apparently they're still building the wall, which is actually just repairing the existing fence, but whatever. So Ann Coulter, she started tweeting immediately after Donald Trump's statements, at first starting saying, at this point, who doesn't want Trump impeached? Of course, responding directly to President Donald Trump's tweets. Later on, she goes, if we're not getting a wall, I'd prefer President Pence. Wow. Just scoop my jaw off the floor. Yeah. So the third one, again, they just keep getting better and better. Let's play Jeopardy. Answer an Easter egg question. And then the question is, what's the only thing easier to roll than Donald J. Trump? And then finally she blasts Bannon and Trump saying, looks like Bannon got it wrong. The shadowy force trying to nullify the 2016 election, ... is real Donald Trump. Wow. So, Philip, Ann Coulter writes a book. It's called In Trump We Trust. And now here she is just completely bashing the president of the United States. Wow. I mean, this is one of... You know what? Nothing matters anymore. This is just... You're for Trump, you're in the swamp, you're anti-Trump, you're anti-swamp. It all means the same. Basically, we want the wall built. Apparently, maybe something for DACA. Apparently, everybody wants a law there. So who knows what's going to happen? But that's exactly the kind of drama that's going on in DC, folks, and that's why we're talking about it on the weekly recap here. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Philip Stuckey at the Real P Stuckey, and I'm Henry Rogers, and it's at Henry Rogers DC. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week.